center field seats. And the Yankees take an immediate 2-0 lead in this must game.
Jack Flaherty tried to surprise him with a fastball, but Aaron Judge was ready. And the fans and the team have been waiting for this great player to be unleashed. Step one.
Does it mean the game's over? Of course not. But boy, it's much better to have the lead.
What did that mean to this team?
Yeah, it was big. You know, obviously for him, good at bats last night. Bang!
There's another. Giancarlo Stanton. Who needs me though? Aaron Boone had the call. Opposite field home run to open up the third.
It is a Stantonian home run. Giancarlo. No si può stopparlo.
Giancarlo Stanton opens this inning against the new Dodger pitcher Ryan Brazier with his 7th home run of the postseason.
The Yankees now take out the 5-0 lead.
0-2. Swing and a line drive center field. Sinking. Judge charging. Oh, and he dropped the ball. Racing for second is Hernandez, and he slides in safely. Wow. A sinking liner, and Judge went to squeeze it. It'll go E8. The 2-2. Swing and a ground ball to the hole at short. Volpe up with it. Throws to third. It kicks off the glove of Chisholm as it was in the dirt. Everybody's safe. I think he went to the right spot in terms of where his momentum was taking him. He just needed to make a better throw. 0-2. Swing and a line drive center field. Sinking. Judge charging. Oh, and he dropped the ball. Racing for second is Hernandez, and he slides in safely. Wow. A sinking liner, and Judge went to squeeze it. It'll go E8. The 2-2. Swing and a ground ball to the hole at short. Volpe up with it. Throws to third. It kicks off the glove of Chisholm as it was in the dirt. Everybody's safe. I think he went to the right spot in terms of where his momentum was taking him. He just needed to make a better throw. The 3-2. Swing and a fly ball out towards left center field. Judge drifting back. Slowing down, makes the catch. Tagging from third, Kike Hernandez. He'll come in to score. Tagging from second and making it to third is Tommy Edman, and it is 6-6. Pitch to Mookie. Swing and a high fly ball drilled center field. Drifting back is Aaron Judge. Under it, he makes the catch. Tagging from third is Edman. He's in to score, and the Dodgers have the lead here in the 8th as they have a 7-6 advantage. Sac fly right there by Mookie Betts.
LA 3 outs from a world title after 2 1/3 heroic innings from Blake Trinan. The Dodgers are turning to Walker Buehler out of the bullpen for the first time since the end of June in 2018. LA 3 outs from a world title after 2 1/3 heroic innings from Blake Trinan. The Dodgers are turning to Walker Buehler out of the bullpen for the first time since the end of June in 2018.
Breaking pitch, grounded to third. Muncie's got it. One gone in the 9th. Austin Wells on a 3-2. Swings and misses. The Dodgers are 1 out away. Walker Buehler is 1 out away from a championship, from a proper celebration. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
They've done it! They finished the job and give Los Angeles the parade it's been waiting for! A swarm of Dodgers on the right side of the infield. Grown men but children again. Living out their dream.
They cap off their 8th World Championship with a comeback for the ages from down 5-0 to win it 7-6 in 5 games in this clash of the Titans.
It's hard to put into words. My stepmom is from Los Angeles. She grew up watching Fernando, what Fernando means to the city of Los Angeles, and not just Los Angeles, to baseball fans around the world, I would assume. He brought Fernando Mania, and it was electric. I obviously wasn't alive during that, but to see what he meant to so many people being around him the last 3 years, I wish he was here. Glad he's up there probably with my mom, and jumping up and down right now. So I'm glad we were able to bring it home. A little bittersweet, but I'm glad we were able to do it for Fernando and his family.
Good morning, Kansas City. Can you hear me? Can you really?
It's a little muffled, but it's coherent.
I have a mask on. Let me see a picture of it. This is real sports talk, people.
It's a pretty frightening mask.
You like it?
It's kind of like almost like a Japanese samurai mask.
Yeah? I have no idea what it is. Just wearing it.
Yeah. This is early Halloween for New York last night.
All right, I'm going to leave this mask on for about another 30 seconds, so...
Go check it out on the streams.
Jake, do me a favor. Come here and take a picture of me before I... Or either I might suffocate in this thing. How's everyone doing out there? How are you Yankee fans doing today, huh? Here, use my phone too. Well, welcome to New Day with SSJ. Happy Halloween. You know, gotta dress up.
Don't gotta do nothing.
Yeah, I like it. Keeps me young. All right, let me get this damn thing off. Ah, that's better. Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Yeah, that's not happening for an hour on the stream. But good morning. It's Thursday, October 31st, Halloween. Get my damn hat on. I'm all discombobulated now. There we go. Hope everyone's getting ready to have a fun Halloween tonight. Huh. How about the storms last night? Good God. Had enough of those, thank you.
Needed the rain. It's good.
Yeah, well, I don't need any more.
No, it should be nice and dry tonight.
Let these kids trick or treat tonight, please.
Nah, there's no rain on the forecast. Should be a nice balmy 50, 55 degrees. Fall time.
The girls got invited over to a boy's house.
Uh-oh.
And the mom's going to make snacks. And they're going to watch a scary movie. So, you know, parental supervision, everything else, it's all good. Taken care of. I've met him. Had him down at the haunted houses, so good kid. Fun will be had. So they're excited. They're still going to dress up. And everything else, you know. Dad's not invited, but whatever. I'll be chauffeuring. Looking forward to it.
Go in and test out the snacks.
Well, if I'm asked, oh, they'd be so pissed off if I went in with them.
I'm just here for the snacks.
I cannot imagine how pissed off they'd be. Hey, I'm going to come in too for a while and hang out. All right, look. World Series is over. We can now focus on football. Well, basketball's here, but still football. Football is, that's the spotlight. But congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers winning it for Fernando Valenzuela. And, oh, I mean, look, the Dodgers, okay, I hate the Yankees. There's no doubt about that. And you got to understand that's my formative years of being a sports fan, being born in 72, when I first really became aware of sports was through the Royals of the 70s and George Brett and Hal McRae and, Frank White and Willie Wilson, Dennis Leonard, Paul Spludorf. You know the deal. The great Royals of the 70s and the 80s. And I lived that through the eyes of my mother and my grandfather and my dad taking us to games and the heartbreak of 76, 77, and 78, leading to the elation of 1980 and George Brett's 3-run home run in Game 3 of the ALCS against Goose Gossage to help push the Royals into the first World Series and finally get over that Yankees hump. But that's in me, man. That's part of me. That's built in. That doesn't go away. I don't like the Yankees. I don't want them to win. I root against them. And they've won plenty. They've won a lot. They don't need to win anymore. For the rest of time, if they didn't win anymore, that'd be good. Share the wealth. Spread it around. The Dodgers, I've somewhat enjoyed the Dodgers over the years. I rooted for the Orel Hershiser, Kirk Gibson Dodgers over the A's. I still remember watching the Kirk Gibson home run and where I was and who I was. I was with Caesar, and we're getting ready to go to the movies down at Crown Center to see, I believe we're going to go see with a couple of friends, lady friends from St. Pius. We're going to go see, for some reason, the movie that Phil Collins made called Buster. I don't know, dude. Whatever. I like Phil Collins. And so I don't dislike the Dodgers. I don't love the Dodgers. Now, again, becoming a sports fan and really being heavily influenced by my grandfather, Danny Ontiveros, he loved Fernando Valenzuela. And if you are from a Mexican-American family, then you understand that your grandfather or your father loved Fernando Valenzuela, right? He didn't play for the Dodgers. He played for Mexico. Okay, there was no team. He played for Mexico.
That's right.
He just happened to be on the Dodgers, but he played for Mexico, and that was it.
Yeah.
You weren't going to tell him any different, And so, you know who else my grandfather liked? I don't know if we even talked about this. He loved Lee Trevino. And I'd watch. Oh, yeah. I watched a lot of golf as a kid with my grandfather.
Yeah, my grandfather loved Lee Trevino as well.
And then
my dad wasn't a big golf guy, but
neither was my grandfather.
My grandpa loved golf.
My grandpa never picked up a golf club, but by God, he watched.
Yeah.
And he used to love watching Tom Watson.
Sure.
Mijo, he's from Kansas City. Like, oh, okay, Grandpa, let's watch it. And so I remember one time my grandfather would take me out. Oh, I'm going to mess this up.
And Chichi Rodriguez.
When Tom Watson did, remember he'd bring in superstars of golf for his charity event. What was it? Help me. People out there. I'm old. I'm losing it.
With the Watson Challenge?
Yeah, it wasn't called the Watson Challenge, Joe. Oh, my God. I mean, he'd bring in the superstars of golf, right? And it was a foursome. Someone help me that's out there that remembers. And my grandpa used to like to go to that. And so, because one year Lee Trevino was one of the guests. And my grandfather had just bought his book called Super Mex. That was like his biography. You remember that at all? That book was had by every Mexican American grandfather and father, Super Mex, right? And so we went out there and we were standing off to the side watching, and I got hit by a golf ball by a line drive right in the shin, hit by Lee Trevino, and it hurt. And I was a little kid. And my grandpa, but I wanted to be tough, and try to. My grandpa, no, stay down. He'll come over here. And so my grandpa makes me stay down and play it up like I really hurt my leg, and it stung, but it was it was a line drive shot off my shin. And so then when Lee Trevino gets over there, he goes to check on me, and then signs the golf ball for me, and my grandpa takes it, because he, what was I going to do with it? I was going to give it to him anyway, but, and my grandpa was just beside himself, right? Loved it. Anyway, I digress. And so so I do, when I watch the Dodgers and I enjoy the Dodgers, I think it's because I think about my grandfather and Fernando Valenzuela. With Valenzuela just recently passing away before the World Series, like, I'm all in on the Dodgers. I hate the Yankees. They eliminated the Royals. Let's go Dodgers. Let's go blue. And then the Gary Dieter controversy sprinkled in. Because if I wasn't rooting against the Yankees, he would make me root against the Yankees. And by God, the Dodgers took care of business and won in 5 games. And would it have been wonderful to see the Dodgers sweep the Yankees? Yeah, yes, it would have. But what was pretty damn good? To watch the Yankees collapse at home and blow a 5-run lead and play one of the most miserable innings I've ever seen defensively in a World Series and just puke all over themselves. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah. It's an all-timer.
I mean, and I'll be honest with you.
6 outs.
And I'm not pearl clutching here. Trust me. I don't get overly offended by anything. People can do whatever they want. I don't care. Just leave me alone, right? Leave me out of it. As long as you're not hurting me or my family, go act like an ass. Do whatever you want in life. Fine. But I was just really turned off by the 2 Yankees fans that grabbed the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove, and one of them held his arm down. Because look, I do think he could have got hurt, and I do think it was ridiculous, and I thought it was stupid. And then yesterday, to see how some media outlets were celebrating them as heroes. Jesse Rogers from ESPN, go look at the post he made, and he got ripped apart.
He should have.
He put a picture of them with his friends, called the guy Butte, did like a profile of him, like, and I'm sorry, like, didn't we used to, like, when somebody would run on the field, they wouldn't show them on TV,
right? No,
because you didn't want to encourage someone else,
correct,
to run on the field.
They still don't do that.
Okay, but what's the why? Because you don't want someone else to run on the field to try to get on TV.
Right, to give them fame.
That's encouraging them. They're going to get a platform, right?
They're 15 minutes.
And so what are we doing here? By putting these guys up on a pedestal, aren't you telling other fans, hey, it's okay, put your hands on a player, and you're going to get some fame out of it. You're probably going to get a podcast. You'll get on Barstool Sports. ESPN will do a profile of you, and people will call you a hero. Really? That's what we're calling a hero nowadays? I thought that that whole thing was a joke. It really was.
Yeah. And
Mookie Betts had every right to punch both those guys in the mouth, and I wish he would have. You see, somebody asked Tommy Pham about it. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I mean,
those guys were lucky.
You mentioned
I mentioned that yesterday
with Buster,
and somebody, I got to find the quote.
Yeah, you mentioned it with Buster yesterday, saying those 2 guys are really lucky it was Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
And Mookie Betts is, for all accounts, a really good guy.
Right.
And it could have been a different player, and you said like Tommy Pham.
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Imagine that. Pham was asked as part of the Athletics Live blog during Game 4 what he would have done during that spot. Tommy Pham's response was predictable. He said, buddy, touching me would be a problem. Keep your hands to yourself. That's exactly right. Tommy Pham slapping other players because he thought they were illegally stashing players in a fantasy football league. What do you Tommy Pham was stabbed in the parking lot of a strip club. Tommy Pham chokes people out in the off season for fun. Tommy Pham, like, can you imagine if those bros would have put hands on Tommy Pham?
Tough guy with all the hoorah, so I'll never start anything, but I'll be prepared to finish it. There's a reason why, I do all kinds of fighting in the off season, because I'm prepared to somebody up. So you can take it as what it is.
And maybe you don't like that, but that's just who Tommy Pham is. And they put hands on Tommy Pham. Guess what? Those guys are begging for security to come and get him. They're begging to be thrown out of the game. They're begging to be for someone to protect them from Tommy Pham. Just so happens that Mookie Betts is one of the class players in Major League Baseball and had a tremendous amount of self-control. Look, and so that just added to the list. Like, oh God, beat the Yankees.
Look,
please.
You're right. It's very fortunate he didn't get hurt, and I don't want to exaggerate it, but it's borderline assault. It's borderline assault. Putting your hands on somebody else like that. I mean, they're lucky there weren't, charges pressed.
Very easily could have, like Buster said, hyperextended his elbow, whatever, altered the series. It's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Celebrating it.
Well, we'll ask Sherm later. Can you imagine a fan putting their hands on Sherm and trying to smack the football out of his hands?
No.
Good God. Good luck.
I'm sure Dieter loved it.
He did. But, I mean, it's like,
It's ridiculous.
Why? So, anyway, and so
Right.
that just added to, right? That just added another layer to it. Like, that's that fan. And I know I'm stereotyping. That's not the entire fan base. But it just sure seems like there's a lot of them. And then being exposed to the couple of Yankees fans and the Yankee fan that got thrown out of Kauffman Stadium in Game 4.
I mean,
They
those
just
kind of actions
kept harassing everyone.
It fits
It's
the
like,
stereotype.
just lose.
It fits.
Get beat. And it was just so satisfying to see them get
How
beat.
they lost, right?
And just collapse and choke at home when they had a chance to get back in the series. Way to go, Dodgers. Thank you.
Right.
All right, we're going to get to something here real quick. Hey, I'm going to switch gears here as we do on this show. So, if you've listened to this show for a long time, that while this show has been on the air, both Jake and I have gone through the losses of our mothers, right? And I'll tell anyone to listen, my mom was my best friend. My mom and I were extremely close, and for a long time in our lives, I felt like she was the only one that had my back, For a long time in my life, she was the only one that believed in me. And I'm pretty certain that I would not be in radio and would not have made it as far as I have in my career without her and without her insistence and without her pushing me when I did not think I would be able to accomplish much, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely would not have graduated college. I definitely, many of the things that I've accomplished in my life, I give a tremendous amount of credit to my mom for. And I'll tell you this, my involvement, I love being involved in many, many charities and organizations and events in the city. I love giving back to the community. I'm thankful that Chad Boger and Union Broadcasting give me this platform to allow me to bring awareness to many worthy causes that I'm involved with and events that I MC, and that's a big, big part of what I do. And I do that in the name of my mother because she used to do things like that and donate her time, and nobody would know about it, and she didn't do it for attention. She just did it because that's what she thought was the right thing to do, and she always put that in my head. As much as you get, that's how much you give back. In fact, give back more. If you're in a position to do good, then that's what you're supposed to do. And that's why I do that in her memory, because if she was still alive, she'd still be doing those things. Many similarities between my mom and Jake's mom. Many similarities in our relationships. And they passed away just close to around a year.
14 months apart.
14 months apart. And when my mom passed away, there was Jake's mom there in the foyer of the church, helping serve food to the people that attended the funeral. So she was right there and saw me go through it and helped me go through it. And then 14 months later, I'm there with Jake because he lost his mom. So we all, I always wanted to do something. It was one of my mom's dreams because she was never allowed. I mean, she was out of her house when she was 15 because circumstances beyond her control. She was not allowed to continue to attend high school or go to college, and she was probably the most intelligent person I've ever been around, and she always wanted to have some type of impact when it came to kids going to school or, scholarships or anything else. Again, she influenced me, and I would never have completed school without her. And so a few years ago, through my work with the Hispanic Development Fund, and I chose them because I received a scholarship as a young man from them, and I'm on their advisory board. I established the Julie Ontiveros St. John Deborah Douglas Gutierrez Memorial Scholarship to honor my mom and to honor Jake's mom and to help worthy kids that would not have the opportunity to go to college or to pay for school, to have them go to school. We have one young man named Alexis who we've given him a scholarship, I think 4 consecutive years, and he's getting ready to graduate from William Jewell with honors. And he's on the soccer team there, and he not only get graduating, but like flying high, right? We've helped another young lady go through nursing school. We've helped 6 or 7 different kids from the Kansas side, from KCK, a couple of kids from my Northeast neighborhood, a couple of kids from the West side, all over the place, right? Some kids from Wyandotte High School, some kids from Northeast High School, some kids from Guadalupe Center, a couple kids that were going to KU, like your mom, to honor her, and so different things that strike us because we get a chance to pick the different kids that we can help, right? And so, long story short, it's on our own to raise money for the scholarship fund. And they do a great thing through HDF and many of our partners. We have about a month to raise money. It's called Change for Change, Cambio para Cambio, and the money we raise is matched by some corporate sponsors and partners, right? And so once a year, Jake and I do an online auction to raise money for our mom's scholarship fund. I get some donations from our wonderful friend Brad, the great people at ADA Fundraising. Thank you. And so this is what we got. And we're going to take bids from now until 10 o'clock to the end of the show. Jake doesn't even know what I got, all right? I think Jake would be excited by this. And if you like this show or if you like us and you'd like to help us honor our mothers and help some really deserving, worthy kids from neighborhoods all over Kansas City, from all different kinds of backgrounds and ethnicities. It's not just Hispanic. It's all different backgrounds, all different ethnicities. We're looking for kids that have applied that deserve to go on to school and further their education. All right? And so it would mean so much to us if you would bid on some of these items. Here we go. Chiefs Super Bowl mini helmet signed by Trent McDuffie. Chiefs Super Bowl mini helmet with the Super Bowl logo signed by Trent McDuffie. Chiefs home jersey, Nick Bolton, signed by Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton autographed jersey. A beautiful white Mizzou jersey signed by Luther Burden III. An LB3, and this ain't an easy one to get, an LB3 Luther Burden III autographed Mizzou jersey. And finally, and our buddy Sam found out I got this, and he wants to be notified about all bids. And I think Jake might even bid in this. I don't know. Game model autographed bat signed by Pasquatch Vinny Pasquantino. An autographed Vinny Pasquantino bat. His game model, all right, Pasquatch, signed by Vinny Pasquantino. So the Trent McDuffie Super Bowl mini helmet, the Nick Bolton jersey, the Luther Burden III jersey, and the Vinny Pasquantino bat, all autographed, all donated by our great friends at 88 Fundraising, and 100% of the money goes to the scholarship fund that we've established for our moms, Julie St. John Ontiveros and Deborah Douglas Gutierrez. Help us honor our mothers, and more importantly, help us establish some scholarship money for some very deserving Kansas City area kids, both on the Kansas side and on the Missouri side, from neighborhoods all over the city that we'll pick out, and we'll get a chance to evaluate their applications, and we'll you know what, try to get them to follow their dreams and pursue higher education in the name of our wonderful mothers. And you could bid all day long, 913-381-810, 913-381-810. If you want to do it on X, at SSJWHB, you can DM me, tweet at me, and send me your contact info. Start the bids. We'll start the bids at everything at $100, all right? Let's do that. That's easy. All these things are worth 3 times that, right? Trent McDuffie, mini helmet, Luther Burden jersey, Nick Bolton jersey, Vinny Pasquantino bat, all autographed. Please bid. We love you. Thank you so much. We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, they did the Monster Mass. Like Mike Tyson there at the end just wants to reiterate, they did the Monster Mass. Thank you. Thank you for the Bobby Brown, Mike Tyson version. I was about ready to scold you. Do we have our next guest, Joe Valerio, Chiefs offensive lineman, receiver extraordinaire? What's up, Joe? How you doing?
Hey, I should have worn that as my Halloween costume this year, right?
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I'm so in the mood for Halloween. Thank you for getting me in the mood with that song. I'll tell you, Steve DeBerg and Bill Moss used to throw the best Halloween parties.
Oh, I bet they did.
Oh, I remember one year, Billy Bob, obviously, as we all call him, he was like Jason with the chainsaw, or he was the guy from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he had like a working chainsaw but with no chain on it. Oh, my God. He was scaring the living daylights out of people. It was so much fun. And it was kind of Bergie's favorite holiday. It was Steve DeBerg's favorite holiday. I remember he wore a Jason mask for like an entire practice once under his helmet.
Remember they used to call him Freddy Krueger because he just every time Marty tried to give the job to somebody else, he just kept coming back.
He was living his Halloween costume out. Yeah, it was awesome. Halloween was great, and it was always a fun time. And because it's a holiday, and you get all these holidays in the middle of the season, right? You get Halloween, you get Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and all these things, and you learn to celebrate with those guys, and it was always a ton of fun getting families together for that.
Hey, Joe, I just want to kind of ask you about because I think sometimes we take for granted what we have here in Kansas City as fans. I hosted an event for Creed Humphrey and his cause, which is KC Pet Project, and so we hosted a Protect Your Tailgate party at Boulevard Brewery this week, and the offensive line was there, and we were talking about just him being able to have Joe Tooney on one side and Trey Smith on the other, and they were both there. And Pro Football Focus's mid-season awards, all pro teams came out, and the first team, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney, all on it. And so it's not like we fall in love with our players here in Kansas City because they win championships and they're so good and we love watching them. But, I mean, this interior offensive line, Creed Humphrey's the best center. Many people make the case for Joe Tooney being the best guard. And Trey Smith is an absolute beast. What the Chiefs, and we've seen them rely on it, right? You tell me as a former offensive lineman, how good is that interior offensive line that the Chiefs have that they can rely on game in, game out?
I mean, not only do you think so, not only do our fans think so. Look at what the accolades from the media that are coming in. Everybody thinks so, and it's I would actually substitute the word think in for no. I mean, you watch them play, and if you understand the offense today as the way that offensive coordinators like Matt Nagy run it, it all starts right there. You can't do the things that you do. Patrick Mahomes can't be Patrick Mahomes without a solid interior. Yeah, there's a lot of focus goes on the tackle because it's the spot that most people see, and I use that word loosely, see, because it happens on the outside and the camera can pick up a left tackle or right tackle kind of getting beat on a pass rush. But, when it's happening in the closet, as we used to call it, that 7-foot box there, 7 foot by 3 foot box, you don't see that all the time. You don't see the inside zone plays. You don't see when two guys get their hips together and push a 350-pound defensive tackle who runs a 4.5 40 and bench presses 500 pounds. You don't see when two guys put their hips together and push that guy 3-4 yards down the field and then block him into the linebacker, right? We used to call that, when I coached offensive line, we used to call that block the linebacker with the defensive tackle's butt, because that's how it works with these athletic linebackers. You can't just you can't single block up a 300. You can't. Chris Jones, take him for an example, right? How lucky we have him. You can't block Chris Jones by yourself. Even a guy as good as Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, or Joe Thuney, you can't block a guy like that by himself. And so it takes teamwork. And then what you also can't block guys like, just pick a linebacker from my year like a Ray Lewis, or even our guys, Drew Tranquil, Michael Bolton. Like you can't Nick Bolton, sorry, Michael Bolton. I'm sitting here thinking about the weekend singing.
Hey, you know what? Michael Bolton deserves the credit too. Wonderful singer.
He does.
I got no problem with it.
Beautiful
right.
head of hair. And so, like, when you're trying to block linebackers like that while you're blocking a Chris Jones, like, forget about it. Like, you just can't do it. So anyway, I know it's a long answer to a short question. It's incredibly important. That's just the run game, right? That's just trying to establish the run game. Then you think about what it takes to protect the interior because, again, I'm going to go back. I'm not trying to take anything away from these high-priced tackles and, buddies of mine like Ricky Sigler and John Alt and Jeff Criswell and all those tackles that I had the pleasure of playing with back in the day. But, like, I think about, what it takes to protect the middle of that pocket and how important it is to stay out of the quarterback's face when you've got, Chris Jones rushing against you, right? The Aaron Donalds of the world rushing against you. You've got to protect the middle of that pocket. Quarterbacks can good quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, you watch him. He's great at stepping up. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, right? These guys, they know how to step up, and unless somebody gets completely obliterated at tackle, quarterbacks know how to avoid that kind of rush these days. You're kind of seeing it, right? Sack numbers are, I don't know this perfectly or all the data behind it, but a lot of sack numbers seem to be down because the way quarterbacks play. What's happening is you're seeing a pickup in pressures and you're seeing a pickup in pressures from up the middle. And that's why it's so important to have those three on the same page and to have such great guards in the center protecting the middle, because that's where Patrick's vision is. He can always step up and get into what I call the pocket within the pocket when you get the outside rush. But, man, if you have nowhere to go up the middle, you got nowhere to go. It's how the Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl by rushing Tom Brady right up in his face. They weren't worried about sacking him. They were worried about taking away his vision and getting in his face. And if you look at that game, I know that's going a ways back here, almost like 6-7 years, but like that's where it all happens, right there with those three. So I know that was a long answer, but I love talking about it because I know that those are the three best interior guys as a unit, if not individually, in the NFL.
Okay, so we'll stick with the offensive line then. Juwan Taylor actually graded out very well and had a good day when he was matched up with Max Crosby. Wanye Morris had his struggles. And so let's revisit. We talked about tackles quite a bit early on in the season. Now Wanye's had several starts since he took over for Suamataia. How do you feel about where the tackles are right now?
I mean, is it where we need to be? I mean, obviously Juwan is a proven veteran and he's been around the block and he's done this, and he's adjusting, he's figuring it all out with not being so jumpy on the snap counts and trying to get his timing down. Put yourself in those guys' shoes. I mean, you've got guys like Max Crosby, like George Karlaftis, right? Think about those rush ends that are, just they're beasts. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, they got long arms, they're going to stick it right in your chest, and they're going to push on your chest and try to keep your hands from getting on their chest and their shoulders. And then they dip their shoulder. I mean, Derek Thomas, man, he was like a phantom out there. Like he would just disappear. Like he would dip his shoulder and like, where did he go? And he was so low to the ground, and you're like, oh my God, how do I block this guy? He's 6'3", 6'4", he's 265 pounds. Derek bench press the world, squat the world. Like, how am I going to block this guy? He runs a 440. It's like, think about the fear that goes through your mind. Like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. John Alt, right? He's my roommate for a couple years on the road. We always would switch around our roommates on the road, and I loved rooming with Alty, man. He was the best. He was such a great friend and such a great teammate. And two stories about John playing tackle and how hard it is to play tackle. So we're playing the Chargers, and it was we're playing. I believe we were at home, and it was his wife's and his anniversary, Carolyn and his anniversary. And they decided to take a night and go, take a night away, go down to the plaza, get a good dinner, and get away from the kids. John had a lot of kids, and they went out to dinner, and it was on a Monday night because Tuesday's our day off. And John is sitting on the edge of the bed after dinner at the hotel, and he goes, "We got to go home." And Carol says, "What do you mean? We got no practice tomorrow. It's a day off. It's our anniversary." He goes, "We got to go home." And she goes, "Why?" He goes, "It's Leslie O'Neal week." And like he was already thinking about it on Monday. And this guy, and we're talking about top 5 tackle in the NFL, right, of his era, right? One of the best left tackles to play the game, Chiefs Hall of Famer, and he's worried about Leslie O'Neal. The other one was, Alty was a man of few words, and he was such an amazing, just stalwart guy, but he did, and a great friend, but he didn't speak a lot. And for the years that we roomed together, we didn't talk a lot. And then one day I walk in, we're playing the Giants in the Meadowlands in New York, and I was starting that game actually at right tackle, and Alty was at left. And I'm my second year. I'm nervous about getting a start, going against Pepper Rogers or Pepper Johnson. I'm getting so old, 30 plus years ago. And so I'm trying to think about what's this game going to look like for me. And I walk in, and John, who very rarely smiles, happy guy, but very rarely smiles. He's got this grin on his face, and he's like, I said, "John, Alty, I haven't seen you smile in like 2 years. Like, what are you happy about?" He goes, "Oh, I just found out Lawrence Taylor got scratched." So, that's the stuff that goes through these guys' minds, Stephen. And I know that's like a weird answer to a question about the tackle situation with the Chiefs, but it's hard out there. And, you need time, and that's why these players, that's why these tackles jump a little bit. They jump the snap count. They're trying to get every advantage because they are on an island. There is a spotlight on those guys. So, Wanya's got, he's got some development to go, right? He's a relatively new starter, and he's figuring it out. And Juwan's going to be fine. But again, I think the most important thing that we realize is you're not seeing a lot of sacks. You're not seeing a lot of Patrick taking big hits because he knows how to use his protection. He knows how to use those 3 guys in the inside to step up and again, I'll use that term again, find the pocket within the pocket.
So you talked a lot there about, the pass rushers these guys face. The Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo acquired another pass rushing weapon this week in Josh Uche from the New England Patriots. And this is a guy that had 11.5 sacks 2 years ago. And he comes in here with a chance to, put up some numbers and play well and parlay that into a nice contract because he'll be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. And he also has a chance to win a championship. Your thoughts about what that adds to the mix, because I think giving Spags another weapon is always very exciting, and this defense is already elite, and now you've got another guy that can get to the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And, look, Grunny, if you're listening, Will Shields, if you're listening, anybody, Chiefs line mates that are in Kansas City listening or listening around the country, please don't take offense to this, but, because we always want to say the position that we play is the hardest, right? I am going to make a very objective statement here and get out of my offensive line mentality, right, of my fool mentality, my fraternal order of offensive lineman mentality, and say rushing the passer is one of the hardest things you'll ever do in a sport. And when you have to rush the passer consistently play after play, when teams get into 2-minute or, any kind of hurry-up offense, I liken it to those who have played, who have wrestled, or if you've ever boxed. It's a different kind of physical exertion that happens, and I liken it because I wrestled all through most of my high school, and I boxed a lot as a kid, and it is really the different kind of tired that you get in those 2 to 3 minute sprints of a round or in a wrestling match, a period, and it is really exhausting. So to have depth there and to be able to rotate fresh legs through and get them on the field when you can, especially given the fact that Charles Omena, who's out, Mike is questionable, right? Dan is kind of nagging things here and there. Obviously, George is having a fantastic run, and what a pickup what a draft pick he was. So to have somebody to rush to run through and cycle through who can do it and has experience, that's huge, right? That's just Brett Beach and Andy Reid in action building depth with players that are, is Josh Uche, is he Derek Thomas? No. Is he, Lawrence Taylor? No. But that's what this team is built on. It's built on guys that are highly productive, who can play and rotate through, and that are always going to be there for you with a level of expertise and sort of knowledge that you can count on. And so I just think it's another incredibly smart move, and that's what this defense is doing. They are building a team. And again, I've said this before, and Jeff Fedot and I talked about this on our podcast. Like, I don't mean any offense by it, because I always say if I were a B player, I probably would have played longer than 6 years. But, like, the Chiefs are made up a lot of, of course there's Travis and there's Patrick, right? There's Chris Jones, and those are your A-plus, perennial All-Pros. We talked about Creed and Joe and Trey. But this team really, when you look at it on paper, it's made up of a team of solid players who, and again, I mean no offense by this, they're like B plus, A minus, A players, right? There's no C's, there's no D's, there's nobody that's just like filling in. And I think that's why they're so successful, because they're playing like a team of players that have chemistry and can do things together, and you're not focused on one superstar. Yes, is Chris Jones one of those defensive superstars? Yeah, you're always going to have one. But really, when you do think about it, Stephen, this team is made up of just solid performers. Again, liken it back to the Patriots when they went through their dynasty era, right? Nobody really remembers a lot of those players other than Tom Brady or, of course, Julian Edelman's doing his podcast now. People kind of see him, and you remember some of the players, Gronk, of course. But, there's not a lot of people that go, oh, yeah. It's not like the Steelers of the 70s, right, where you were like Mean Joe Green, Mel Blount, L.C. Greenwood, Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Rocky Bleier. Like, you can remember those teams. So they were made up of a million superstars. This is not one of those teams. This is more the new era dynasty where you play as a team and you win as a team, and that's what I'm most excited about when I watch the Chiefs play.
All right, my man, Joe Valerio. Tell people again where they can hear the podcast.
Yeah, Stephen, Believe in Chiefs, BLEAV, with my podcast partner, Jeff Fedot, who writes for Forbes Magazine. And you can follow me along at Joe Valerio73 on Twitter/X.
Joe, always good talking to you. We'll chat next week.
Thanks, Stephen. You too, bud.
That's former Chiefs offensive lineman Joe Valerio. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated. HLAC certified to the highest medical laundry standards, Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.